Hey everybody. So, in contrast to my last video, which I was in Mexico fishing saltwater, I decided to go up to 11,000 feet for my first backcountry trip of the year. I like coming up to this area just because it's easy to get to and lets me check out my gear before I go anywhere more hardcore. If you've watched my videos for a while, I went up here about 2021. This is the Cottonwood Lakes area, specifically the South Fork Lakes area. I took the back route, which is fairly gradual until the very end, and then you have to climb this steep section, which you'll see in the next clip. So this is the top where the lake is, and there's a creek that exits the lake, which looked pretty fishy to me, so I decided to bust out my new Tenkara rod, which came straight from Japan. So compared to my last time I was up here, there was a lot more people, and it kind of makes sense because most of the Cottonwood Lakes are closed to fishing, and people probably go to the ones that are still open. I found a pretty good camp spot, and as you can see, I had a lake view. I decided to start out with Tenkara fishing, and right away, my first cast, I got a pretty good one. So I actually thought this would be a sign of things to come, which was wide open, easy fishing, but it's completely the opposite case. After this first fish, they started just rejecting my fly no matter what I changed to and how I presented it to them. In this clip here, you can see it swimming up, and even though it looks like I kind of took it away too early, but I think it's just the angle. You'll see, I think, not this one, but the next pass, it'll actually come up and take a look at my fly and just completely ignore it. So I switched to my mini switch micro spay rod, and as you can see, I'm terrible at casting. This probably didn't help me much either since it was crystal clear and I was slamming that heavy line. I was stripping in a really small streamer here, and I actually caught a fish when I was reeling in. That's why you can see I go to reel right away, because all my line was pretty much reeled in. I was about to move. This one actually ended up being the biggest fish I think of this trip. So after a while, we decided to go check out the other South Fork Lake. As you can see, there's a lot of talus hopping for the beginning part of it. I started feeling kind of queasy, so DT2 decided to head on without me, and I stopped and fished this creek. It was really skinny for most of it, but this one pool looked promising, and sure enough, it actually had what I thought was actually a decent size golden trout for that creek. So at this point, I was actually starting to feel really sick. So I decided to head back towards camp. And luckily I did, because my stomach was actually acting up pretty strongly at this point. At dinner time, I actually threw up right after I had a little bit of miso soup, so it was pretty much game over for me, and I called it a night fairly early. Next morning, I decided to fish the lake again. There was a ton of risers, and for some reason, my game just wasn't on. I don't know if it's because of me slamming the line, but I couldn't get any of them to commit. I might have had one that took the fly and I wasn't expecting it and didn't really set the hook. Once it got too warm, I decided to pack up and head out. And right before leaving the lake, we saw some cruisers. So decided to bust out the Tenkara rod again, and it was actually pretty sketchy fishing. Like, they would come up, take a look at my fly, and they just wouldn't commit for the most part. Here was probably the biggest cruiser I saw that was just going back and forth along the edge. So on the maps, we always saw this one lake that the DFG said was fishless. So knowing when the DFG says something's fishless, there's always a chance that it might not be. We decided to go check out the lake on the way back, and pretty lake, great spot to camp at, but yeah, it was fishless. At least we didn't see any signs of life, so that was it. So it is backpacking season, and I'll do a few more trips this year, but I'll try to sprinkle in some other things like float tubing. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.